Hello, everybody. My family is a family that thrived off of storytelling, but I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as this is just where I'm from. I am from the beginnings to a special place that nurtured me to be able to nurture the souls of those least and most like myself. I am from a woman who placed me up for adoption, not because she did not love me, but because she loved me most. I am from a woman who joined a sorority called Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. We are nicknamed, because I also became one, the devastating divas of the DST. What? Yes, ma'am. And it was because of that sorority of heroines to me that I found out who my biological mother was. I was told as a child sitting in front of my adoptive mother if she was trying to comb my tightly curled, what people called kinky hair. And she said, "You know what adoption is?" I said, "Nope." She said, "Well, adoption is when I can go and choose someone because we touch each other's heart. And because you smiled at me, I knew you were mine." And I said to her, "What?" What? Okay. So I was adopted. And I discovered so many magical experiences in my life because of that. But the most magical thing about adoption was the names I had acquired over the journey. You see, I didn't always have a name. When I first got here, I had no name. And I went to an orphanage, and they didn't give me a name. So I was baby girl, which my man still calls me. That and delicious. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It's a secret. But anyway, so my names started coming to me. So I was sent to a home of a woman, and she named me Temple. And it means a sanctuary. And there are people who, before I even discovered that, always told me, "You remind me of a safe place. You remind me of a place I can come to when I'm in a crisis, when I can't even name the experience myself. I can come to you." That's what they used to tell me. That was before I knew my name was Sanctuary. And then 3 months later, because this woman became ill and passed away, I was sent to another home to be fostered by Mama Gerald. And she named me Helen. Need I say more? But I will say more. Because the name Helen means, and you might be really surprised by this, but the name Helen means shining bright, strongly independent woman. With a little business sense. What? Yes, ma'am. And then, I was adopted to a woman who welcomed so many people in her home who had no homes. She taught us that children who come to our home are to be loved, appreciated. And when they came in our house, we rejoiced. And when they left, we cried. And our mother taught us that children deserve a community and should always have a village. And she taught me that I need to be a member of a village to another child. And not only that, but I provided a village for my own children. And my mother, that woman, named me Deborah. Oh, yes. And Deborah means the bee. You better watch yourself, because if you don't, and you do me a certain kind of way, you know that kind of way. Baby, I can switch from some honey to a sting in a minute. That name also came from the Bible of the God of my faith. And that woman was a judge. Now, I'm not judging nobody. That's not the kind of judge she was either. She was over things. Hear me, sovereign ruler? Not that I'm a sovereign ruler, but that's what she was. And she told a man to go fight a war. And he said, and I know you're not surprised by this, I'm not going without you. I'm not going. So she went with him, and she said, when I go and when we win, it's going to be because of me. Say what? Let's clap for her. Oh, my gosh. And then my grandma Sarah gave me the name Sugar Pudding. And that was because she said, baby, your smile is as sweet as sugar, and your cheeks as soft as chocolate pudding. Still are. And so then I became the third generation of Rose. That's my middle name. And once again, it's got that little juxtaposition going. You know, it's fragrant flower, but it's got some thorns on it. Watch yourself, because I might get kind of thorny. I'm not always thorny, but you know, I have moments. And so I'm also from some cooks who could throw down, honey, in the kitchen without shame. I'm talking barbecue ribs, I'm talking greens, I'm talking cornbread, I'm talking mac and cheese, the kind you're not supposed to eat because they say cholesterol and stuff. These women could tear it up. You hear me? My grandma Ruby's gumbo, my mama's oxtail stew. I'm also from many descendants, many strong women. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to be talking about heroes, but anyway. Many strong women from Africa and India, from the tribes of Nansemond, from Mexican Choctaw Blackfoot, Trinidad, Jamaica, and Haiti. You know those blank, what do you call them? Yes, he did. And it's not true. Do I look like that to you? He lied. So anyway, I also come from European, Welsh, Scottish, And I also come from a free people of color who owned Weaver, Indiana. And from a cousin who birthed my cousin, Abram Smith, who became a darkened member of this wicked harvest of black folks hung on a tree, whose picture went throughout the nation, then around the world, and ended up in a textbook I taught from. And his death birthed a song called Strange Fruit. Have you ever heard of that song? Yes. Abel Maripold wrote that, and it was sung by Billie Holiday. That's about my cousin's lynching. I am also from an era where children were bused. We had to get up at 4 and 5 in the morning to be ready to catch a bus, while white children slept in bed till 8. We had to get on that bus, go across town. But you know what was really bad about that? Was that my mother said no, but systems said yes. And they thought they robbed her, but they never took her soul nor her spirit. Because they said, you're going to Atkinson School, Debbie. And my mama said, no, she's not. She's going to Mount Tabor. Because I happened to have an aunt that lived in the burbs. And so I got to go to Mount Tabor with my cousins and my aunt living 4 blocks away. I was good. That community again. And then I was also from a woman named Martha Jordan. She was the first African-American woman to teach in Portland Public Schools. Yes, she was. Go, Martha! And there's a room in her honor at the Kennedy School. I remember when she came to my home and I saw her talk to my mama and my daddy. I saw her smiling at them. So I thought, that's okay, attachment and everything, secure base. Yes, she was. So I was good. So when I went to kindergarten and she had her arms wide open and she said, I'm so glad you're here today. Then we moved and I ended up at Irvington School and I had a teacher named Hinchcliffe. And I told my mama, I'm good. So I waved to her, like, you can go home, Mommy, you can go home. And she was like, okay. And I ran up to Miss Hinchcliffe and I opened my arms and I reached to hug her and she pushed me away. And she said, we don't do that here. Go play. I didn't feel safe anymore. I went to a high school, all-female high school. And you know what was so strange about that? Was that, you see, the song was out that was popular was Helen Reddy's I Am Woman, Watch Me Roar. And we were already in the school we would look at each other when that song would come on and go, what is she talking about? We are already roaring. Yes, ma'am. We were already roaring. So we didn't know what's all this roaring about? We already doing that. I am from myself, a woman who birthed 2 amazing daughters. Don't mess with them. They can buy their own lamp. I raised them. I know Beyonce had another idea, but my children can buy their own stuff, okay? And these women are phenomenal. And then my sons, I told them, if you are interested in bringing a woman home to me, it better not be less than me. Don't bring home nothing less than me. And I meant it. I didn't meet a lot of people. And so my son brings home my daughter-in-law, phenomenal woman, world-renowned photographer, who birthed my granddaughter, who is fire, fire, fire. Little Portland, don't mess with her. She's a year old with a bullet. And then there is my grandma, Sarah. 5-layer cake, Sarah. You see, my dad's mother passed away when he was 6 weeks old, and he was being nursed. And Grandma Sarah had just had her son, JC. So she decided to nurse my dad and to raise him. And she became Cuttin' Sarah. And I won't tell you why it's Cuttin', because that's personal. Little illegal. She had things. She had things in her drawers, knives, but she was good. But she was also an avid gardener. And one of the things that she would do is have me come garden with her. So one day out in her garden, and I'm jumping around, right? And I'm going between the turnips and the mustards. And I'm singing a song I made up like, I want to be a laugher. I want to be a singer. And she was like, and what is that 3-prong thing? they have a special name for it, but I called it her claw. And she just kind of, if you don't, listen, you need to stop jumping all around here. Girl, you need to think about what you are gifted to do, because that is what you're supposed to leave here on this earth. And if you die with all of your gifts in you, you're just selfish. Now, mind you, the whole time she's doing this. And if somebody were watching today, they would have called 911. She wasn't trying to kill me. She was just, she was that kind of grandma that would go, girl, go in there and get that thing off that thing. Anybody ever have a grandma like that? Go get that thing off that thing in there. And I don't know how we knew, but we would bring back that thing. So I listened to her, right? And I want you to know that today, I am the woman I am, nurtured by many women, the bosom of many women, birthed out of the wombs of many women, to do what I'm here to do on earth. So when I die, my name will represent what I came to do. And I encourage all of you to look inside yourself each day. Figure out what your gift is that you're supposed to leave here on this earth. And don't you leave here with it. Because if you do, you're just selfish.